Today, I'm going to talk about a band that pretty much no one ever talks about. No one, and I mean no one at all, unless you go and look up their videos online, on YouTube or whatever, or do some digging around. You will not hear about these guys. The name of the band is Nineteens, and today I'm going to be talking about their album, National Coma, which was released in 1993. Just a quick background of my discovery of this band. I discovered them by way of 88.5 WRAS here in Atlanta. I discovered a ton of music through this radio station, as I had mentioned in other videos. This radio station was the greatest thing that ever happened to independent music or obscure music. They are responsible for the success of many groups that were considered to be underground groups that are now huge or had a lot of success here in the United States. One, for example, is the Swedish group, the Cardigans. I remember they used to play them on there all the time, like some of their earlier stuff, and they had a really good show when they came here. But anyway, this band, I caught their music on 88.5, thought it was interesting, went and picked up the album, and I just happened to catch them at very short notice at a place called The Point, which is now closed, but is in Little Five Points in Atlanta. So a very small venue. They were opening for a band called Tripping Daisy. I was not there to see Tripping Daisy, didn't really care about them, didn't pay attention to them, not to bash them, I'm just telling you, just giving you the info. But anyway, this band was, at the time that they released this album, they had another album before this one called Delaware, and that album was actually really successful in the UK. It was basically a shoegaze record, and they had built up a really strong following through that album, and then they ended up touring with the Smashing Pumpkins in the United States. So between Gish and Siamese Dream, they were opening up for the Smashing Pumpkins, or they did one leg of their tour or something like that. But anyway, they gained a little bit of credit or notoriety by doing that. Anyway, by the time I saw them, they had changed out 3 members of their band. They were a 5-piece band, and 3 of their original members had left. They were having differences and stuff. And you could kind of see it when they performed live. They were good. I enjoyed the show, and I was like right there at the stage. Somewhere I actually have videos of old bands I've played with at The Point. When you're watching a band at The Point, it's like you're right there with them. The stage is very low. It's not super high. So you just felt like you were right there on the floor with them. This album was a big departure from what they had originally done, their shoegaze sound. This was very experimental, and I just noticed that they don't even claim it. When you go to their Wikipedia and you read about them, you won't even see, there's no way to pull details. So the only way I'm able to get some solid details about this album is through this CD, which doesn't have a lot on it, but I'll go on and show you. I mean, it shows you the track listing and everything. Here is what you get. So you don't get any lyrics or anything like that, so you don't know. The lyrics are really, really strange. That's one thing I can say about this band. And this album is unlike, it really truly is unlike anything that I have in my collection. I have a lot of obscure music in my collection. I value that music. I think that some of the greatest music is music that was never heard, and I liked what, he had made a comment, Tommy Victor from Prong. He had said that the record industry sells music to people who don't like music, and that's why obscure music never truly gets heard or never is successful. And I thought that was pretty deep to hear that, and he made a good point. So this album, I will tell you right now, is, as far as I've read by digging around in the forums and looking around just trying to find out things about this band, doing a little research. This was a couple years back. A lot of the early fans of Nineteens hate this album. I couldn't disagree more. I love the Delaware record. I love everything this band has done, and I think this album is a very important piece of indie rock history. And I'm gonna go over some of those tracks and the bass lines today. So I just wanna mention right now that this is fair use, and I'm gonna go on and start it. But this is fair use. I'm playing this in the background, and I'm gonna play bass along with it just to let you guys sort of get a feel for what they're doing. about this album. After the other three members of the Drop 19s left, the main founding members, Greg Ackle and Steve Zimmerman, who is the bassist, Greg Ackle does vocals and guitar, they produced this album. So I figured that's kind of important to mention. So this was a true indie record. They handled all the production on it. I just thought that was cool, and it was something that I wanted to mention really. And for this track, when I saw them live, I was pretty sure that Steve Zimmerman, the bassist, I'm pretty sure that, of course, he played with a pick. You could tell by the tone, but I feel like he started off on the A like a... And the reason I'm saying that is because you can kind of hear him sliding up. Now, of course, the whole album's interesting. There's some really interesting changes. You can hear the Pixies influence in this band. You can hear the Lush influence, like as far as that shoegaze with the female vocal of Megan Gilbert on this album. Kelly was the, I'm forgetting her name, I think it was Laura Kelly was the original. But you know, they had that, you can hear those influences, but I still think that a lot of the stuff they did on here was very experimental and really, in my opinion, very progressive. So anyway, this guy, Steve Zimmerman, he wore this bass low, he was a low rider, and he would just ride that thing with a pick, you know? So anyway, I'm gonna go on and play some of this, play along with it. Hopefully it won't get blocked. Once again, this falls under fair use. Just before recording this video, I looked up their Wikipedia again. I am happy to let you know that as of January this year, they have announced that they have reunited. So the original members have gotten back together to reform this band and go on tour and release another album later on this year in 2022. So I think that's great news. It was a big surprise to me. I literally found this out today. If you found this video interesting, you know what to do. If you find this band, Drop 19s, interesting, look in the description below and I will have information there that can point you into the direction of this band so you can find out what they're doing and when they may be coming to a town near you. Thanks a lot. I'll have another video out to you soon.